so much for coming. The weather is awful, but it's so encouraging to hear all the cars honking in support. Nice weather for a duck. Our numbers may be small, but I guess it takes the rain to keep all the police away, right? So before I start, let me give you a few credentials. Nova Scotia paramedic since October 1993. Nova Scotia Health Authority. COVID-19 vaccination, it says. I'll define that in a minute. When people say, and I even clip these on here, when people say you're a healthcare professional, what do you know? What's your experience? Why do you speak and why do you support the non-compliance like you do? Well, there's a lot of reasons. I want to share some of those with you. Just let me get my notes.
Oh, he got a book.
I got a book. I'm not going to be as long as Darlene.
That's okay.
First of all, let me tell you that this segment is not brought to you by Pfizer. Not by ADCO either. In the summer of 2021, having been off work with EHS for a little bit due to an injury, I was offered to work at a COVID vaccine center. I didn't take it through Nova Scotia Health. I did some other work with them. However, I was talking to my manager and I said, what exactly does the work entail? She says, well, one of the things you're going to do is you're going to sit there and observe people after they get the jab. She didn't call it the jab, but I'm calling it the jab. And she says, you're going to watch them for about 15 minutes. And if needed, you're going to perform CPR until EHS gets there.
Oh, nice.
The public is not told this. This is my manager, and I could tell you her name because as of Monday, I'm going to be fired. But I'm not going to because this is going to go on public social media. That's what I was told. This is a safe vaccine that's safe for everyone. Sit and observe and perform CPR if you have to and wait for EHS to get there.
Wow.
At this point, Nova Scotians are being bribed and coerced into taking a vaccine that is so safe for a virus that's so deadly that you have to be tested to see if you even have it.
There you go.
Right?
Oh, good point. Good point.
Darlene brought up the point about the outbreak in Amherst from a faith-based group. Now that was on the news again as we were driving here today.
Yeah.
Somehow this outbreak went from Amherst to Pugwash. Now let me tell you something about Pugwash. I was a paramedic there for 3 years. The base in Pugwash is sitting here across the parking lot. From here to those bushes is North Cumberland Hospital. Equal distance from the base is East Cumberland Lodge. I'm very familiar with that place. For 2 years I worked at North Cumberland Hospital in the evenings as a paramedic on duty because they don't have a doctor at night. I'm very familiar with that whole setup. Now, here's what happens. The origin is from a faith-based group. 100% of the residents at East Cumberland Lodge are all double vaccinated.
Yep.
I don't know if you realize that or not. 96% of all the staff are double vaccinated.
Wow.
Yep.
As of today, there are 27 residents that are COVID positive at East Cumberland Lodge and 4 staff members.
Yeah, there you go.
There you
That
go.
is not on the news.
Wakey, wakey.
Okay.
Protection.
But if you have access to this, you can go on the website and you can get access to that information. That's why I'm telling you, okay? Last week, a former church member of mine, because I was also a minister for 17 years, she messaged me, private messaged me, and she says, I went to North Cumberland Hospital to see a doctor. I was asked, are you double vaccinated or are you vaccinated? She said, no. The nurse at North Cumberland Hospital in Pugwash said, well, why not? This lady gave a few reasons. This is what the nurse wrote. This is what the nurse told her. Well, why don't you have your vaccines? It's people like you that are keeping us from our freedom because you won't get vaccinated. The 4th wave is hit and is here because of people like you. This is a nurse.
Wow.
This lady went on to say, you have no right to speak to me this way. It's totally unprofessional. This nurse went on to say she had every right to speak to her like that and was allowed to address her like that. Now, how many of you have ever been to a hospital? Put your hand up. If you've ever been to a hospital for any reason, okay? You've ever seen signs like this that say, violence will not be tolerated, being rude will not be tolerated, right? So it's not okay for us to speak like that to nursing staff or we have to be respectful. But yet, because of a nurse in Pugwash during this outbreak, felt it was okay to condemn somebody who was unvaccinated. And in essence, this nurse was saying to the patient who was unvaccinated, who's not even there for that cause, you need to be vaccinated so that you can get COVID like all the patients next door. Does that make any sense to you? Certainly doesn't make any sense to me. 2 weeks ago, I spoke at a rally in Halifax. And that speech is online. It's been shared and posted numerous times in numerous places. I made a few comments, and I've been getting a few comments from former paramedic partners and friends of mine. A couple of people wrote cite references. And so one of them, I just said, well, I don't need to cite references. Just wait a few months and you'll see the effects. Another fellow that I don't know put a comment on there. Don't you have a flat earth anti-vaccine policy or conference that you have to speak at sometime? And so I said to him, why don't you actually watch the video and see if what I'm saying isn't the truth? And his response was this: I'm committed to watching paint dry all day, so I don't have time. He's one of the guys that said, cite your references. So here's what I have to say about this. There are some people that, even though you cite references and you give them the true facts, they don't care. They just don't care. Also on the comment to that video, a lady who lives in Halifax, who is currently in Florida, her name is Amy. Now you can go on the video and you can read all her comments. This is what she writes. My family and I have traveled through 11 states to get to Florida. Almost no signage with regards to COVID, no wearing of masks, people are friendly, smiling. Actually, she says, when we got to Florida, we asked some of the nurses around a hospital, during the height of COVID, was it really like it was on TV, your hospital's overrun? The nursing staff have responded, actually no, we've had to let go of nurses because it was so slow. In response to her comment, Renee, who is a friend of mine, I went to seminary with her in the 80s in Ontario, responds, it's true, my family lives in Canada. They don't believe me. I work in a large university in Tennessee. We normally have conferences of over 2,000 people, no masks. We have church events with thousands of people. We have been living our normal lives since June 2020. Canada is being fed a pile of lies. So what's going on? I took a picture of a screenshot of the World Health Organization website just yesterday and posted it on my Facebook page, where it says right there on their 146th conference, World Health Organization website, World Health Organization has partnered with Google, Facebook, Twitter, Tencent, and TikTok to limit the spread of misinformation. It says right there in the World Health Organization. So when you post something and you get that little ticky box in the bottom that says, you know, vaccines are safe, partly false information, whatever, that's why. Because those platforms are bought and sponsored and checked and fact-checked by the fact checkers. They're fact-checking their own facts, right? And so these people of mine that I'm saying, you know, like things that are happening in third world countries where patients have been treated with ivermectin, they're responding to me saying that's all a bunch of lies, because they're checking on Google and it's all right. They're checking their own.
Wow.
They're all checking their own lies.
Google wouldn't lie, would they?
No. So what does that mean to me? That means that almost 29 years of experience is coming to an end. But it happens. That means that on Monday, all healthcare professionals have had until this weekend to submit their exemptions based on religion. Their own exemptions have had to come in. I'm here to tell you that on one platform that I'm on with unions, we can't sue our employers. If you're unionized, you can't sue your employer. You've given your rights to your union, and our unions, not one union is representing the minority. Our unions have all said we're following the mandates. Our
Wow.
union lawyers have all said we're not backing you.
Wow.
So, healthcare people, they're all getting let go as of Monday.
Wow.
However, on this same website as of yesterday, the Nova Scotia government is looking to fill in this province 97 positions for family doctors, 75 specialists, 994 RNs, 24 nurse practitioners, and 194 LPNs. That's before they let go of whatever they're going to let go on Monday.
Wow.
So what can you do? You've heard Darlene give you some ideas and whatever. We've got to hold the line. Let me give you 3 things sort of in closing, okay? Number 1, hold the line. Keep educating yourself. Now, some of these people that say, well, the things that you're forwarding to me, you know, they're from fringe newscasts and, you know, Rebel News and all that, and, you know, they're not even trustworthy. They're not fringe. They're privately owned. That's right. They're not censored. They're not owned by, you know, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and that. I've been debating this, but we came across some information yesterday. Tim Houston is a shareholder in BlackRock. Now, do any of you know anything about BlackRock?
Yeah.
Vanguard? I've got the actual court documents that show his name listed on there. There's an article that came out. There was a whistleblower that came out, I think it's 2012, with an article written on him. Now, that's been shoved aside. If that tells you anything, BlackRock is one of the proponents that's pushing this all, Pfizer, Moderna, all of these things. By the way, if you go on Moderna's website, you will see how many participants are enlisted in their trial. Anybody want to guess how many? 150.
Yeah. For the world.
Educate yourself. Know your facts. March, hold a sign, be loud.
Yeah.
The second thing you can do is save your energy. Pick your battles. Some of these people that have been telling me, oh, cite your references now, I can spend hours and try to educate them and try to convince them and try to push them. But you know what? They're like, show me your facts, you know? Like, speak to me some more, you know? Those people, you just need to push them aside, right? They're the kind of people that I say they're drunk on strained Kool-Aid, you know? And, you know, 29 years as a paramedic, you come on scene and you have a drunk person, I'm not going to reason with that person. You know what? They're just, it's called, I call it the tipping factor. They've already tipped too far to that side. Save your energy,
Good point.
right?
Good point.
Let me give you an illustration. So I was a preacher for 17 years. In Luke chapter 16, there's a story in the Bible, a rich man and Lazarus. Both of them lived their different lives. One of them was a beggar at the rich man's gate. They both died. Okay. By the way, people die. Yeah. People are going to die from COVID. You know, that's part of life is death. Okay. So they're up there in Abraham's bosom and they could see each other. But the rich man, he's suffering. He's in torment. Lazarus is in Abraham's bosom. The rich man has 2 requests, just 2. The first one is he says, send Lazarus over to dip his finger in water to put on my tongue because I'm in torment. Request denied. The second one is, can you send me back to earth because I got 5 brothers and I need to warn them about this place. And you know what the response is that's given? They will not be convinced even if someone rises from the dead. Some of these people today, you can hit them with the truth, smack dab across the face, and you know what? I'm lining up for the booster. I don't care what you say. You know what? Let them get boosted up. They won't believe you. It's just the way it's going to be. And they will tell you, oh, those people that get strokes after the vaccine and those that get myocarditis and pericarditis, it's not from the vaccine. You know, somebody can get hit by a motorcycle right here and they could die. And if they get tested for COVID and they have COVID too, well, that's COVID death. Right on. But if somebody, you know, if they're sitting in a chair and they get the jab and 10 minutes later they go into cardiac arrest and somebody's doing CPR waiting for EHS, oh, well, that's too bad. You know, they must have had an underlying condition and it can't be from the jab, right? But that's the way it is. Some people, they just won't get it. So save your energy and pick your battles. And the third thing I want to leave you with is prepare for something better. Will the world ever get to where it was? You know, I said in my other speech, you know what? Death happens. There are things worse than death. You know, years ago I used to live in the States, and when we used to drive from here to the States, we used to sometimes drive through New Hampshire. I love the slogan on their license plates. You know, I grew up in Quebec. Je me souviens. I remember. Well, what does that mean? You know, moved to Nova Scotia, Canada's ocean playground. You know,
Good day, eh?
you know. But you know what it is in New Hampshire on their license plates? Live free or die. I love it. You know, there are worse things than death. And will things ever go back to the way they were? I don't know. Maybe not. But whatever. We are where we are. And you know, the question was asked years and years ago in Matthew 24. You know, Jesus was talking to his disciples, and they're like, he's talking about the end. And they said, so what's it going to be like before you come back? What is it going to be like? And Jesus says, you know the way it was in the days of Noah? It got so bad that God says, I'm destroying it all. It's going to be like that in the end. So prepare yourself. You know, there's never been such a time as the talk about globalism and cancel culture and all that. This is a foreshadowing of it.
Yep.
So whatever happens, my friends, healthcare workers are going to get let go. Teachers are going to get let go on Monday. It's going to get worse. You know what? So let me encourage you. Find something good in this world. I don't know you. I don't know your background. But here we are. There's something that unites us. We want to stand and fight for freedom.
Freedom.
Right? And we got to believe in something. Encourage each other. Find somebody to smile at. You got to take your mask off for that though, right? Find somebody to smile at. Encourage somebody. Give them a hug. You know, don't stay 6 feet away from somebody all the time. But you know what? Find a Bible. Read the Bible. If you believe in prayer, now's the time to pray. Love each other.
Here.
All right? God bless you.